Hey everyone, welcome to this week's card reading. It is Tuesday, May the 19th, and I have two messages for you. So you just need to feel in to see if message one or two is meant for you this week, or maybe both of them. Maybe you're needing all the guidance in the world. I know I need that many times. Lots of guidance. So I have felt into the messages and I pulled the cards. And so this is the card for the first message that came through. And I got two cards for the second message that came through. So if you just want to feel into that, yeah, I don't think there's anything I need to announce. So let's just do it, Allison. All right, so message number one. It feels like you are being called to, so I'll show you the card. So it's Inner Spring. Inner Spring. So that's how I pulled it up. There's an opposite part to it, but it came up as Inner Spring. And I instantly felt like this fresh start. And I also felt like, this planting the seeds and having something like nourish and grow. But what it feels like is that this isn't something external, it is something internal. So I was feeling like, maybe you have been putting like a lot of effort and stuff externally on and focus on things externally, whether that's like it feels like it's not for yourself, like it feels like for others. So it's kind of like doing everything for others but not really doing and filling up your own cup. And they brought me down to the sacral chakra, which is really connected to our joy center. So it's our joy, our creativity, our sensuality. And so I kind of felt like there needs to be some nourishment happening here. So for you to be pouring into these parts of yourself, whether that is, sensually, like, through sensuality, or whether that's picking up like a hobby that you used to do, or something that really kind of lit you up, and poured into you. So like like if you were somebody that was really into photography, or you've always wanted to do that, it's like it's picking those things back up. Or if you're into dance or painting, whatever, like it's just something like creative, that kind of gets your creative energy moving. It doesn't mean arts and crafts, but it can be whatever it is. I know for myself, being creative is like if I'm putting together videos or reels or anything like that, that's very creative to me. I like that artistic side to things. I am a singer, so when I take that time to sing and just for myself, but like do recordings, all these things, like those things are filling up my kind of well of joy and creativity. And that's what it kind of really feels like you're being called to right now, is to really kind of just nurture those parts of you, so that and again, they're showing me like seeds, like whatever's kind of implanted or whatever's there, you need to water it, you need to help it kind of grow. If that's something to do with sensuality, and maybe wanting to feel more connected to your partner, it's one of those things where it's like take it out of the head and bring it down into the heart and into the sacral, like to feel that. It's one thing to think it and be like, oh, I wish I had this, but then it's like, where are you nurturing it to help that like actually come into fruition, right? Where are you kind of pouring energy into that to make that connection stronger, not just thinking about it. So yeah, it really just kind of feels like whatever it is for yourself, but it's really like, okay, now it's time to nurture, to water, to grow, this part of yourself and to not ignore it. A lot of women will ignore this area. That's like, being creative, being your joy center, doing things for yourself, all of that. So I just saw a hawk. Hawk? No. Or was that an eagle? I don't know. It was massive. So that's a sign. That's a sign. Okay. All right. So message number 2. So this one I instantly received like the images of like I was like walking through a forest, and all of a sudden like these like vines, roots and stuff, like I would start to walk, and then it was like they'd come and just like block my path, and then I would kind of like try to turn and go a different way, like, but I want like in the same direction, and it would be like all of a sudden these like vines and roots and stuff would kind of like grow and like completely like block and like cage me in. And at first, I was kind of like, yeah, like it felt like it was caging me in, but then I realized that it was just my guides wanting to reroute my direction. So, protecting that it was like, this is not the way to go. So we're going to create a block, and we're going to block you from going over here and, trying to, move you down a different way. So, and the cards that I pulled out was emergence of protection. So boundaries, self-preservation, trusting in divine protection. And then treasures in the deep and dark, shadow work, healing old wounds. So with those 2 cards and the imagery that I got, so it definitely feels like, you're being protected and blocked from something. So if you're feeling like, it's just not going right, or you're like, oh my God, like, just, like, why is it never going right for me when I'm trying to, like, I don't know, progress my career, or, I'm trying to like, go down a path of like, God, Allison, I can't even think, I don't know, a relationship, or making like a big decision, and you're finding like you're just constantly getting blocked, or it's just been hard. It feels like your guides are purposely doing this, and even though you're getting creative on like, because it kind of feels like it's like the block comes up, but then you're like, I'm gonna find another way to get around it, or like, you're not kind of taking a step back and pausing and being like, okay, should it be this hard? And your guides are like, no, it shouldn't be this hard. And that they're kind of like, we are doing this on purpose to really try to stop you from moving forward, or to reroute you a different way of doing it. So one of the things, and pulling up what I'm receiving right now, is like pulling up the card of the shadow work and healing old wounds. It feels like you trying to kind of force a move forward in this direction that you're being blocked in is connected to some, old wounds, or programming, this way that it's always been this way, or you're doing it for the wrong reasons because there's a part of you that it's familiar, but that's an unhealed version of you that's wanting to move forwards that way. So taking that kind of pause and reflecting in to be like, okay, why am I trying to force this? Why am I trying to, move this way? And is the intentions or the reasoning behind that, fully of the light, or is that something that it's kind of like, old wounds kind of dictating that to move forward? So, so I hope that resonates. It's kind of specific in that sense, but it's really kind of, if you're, feeling like it's just not going your way, or it shouldn't be this hard, you're right, it shouldn't. And there's a message in that for you to receive and to see what other ways. So get quiet, go in, do a meditation, connect to your guide, be like, okay, talk to me, allow yourself to receive it and hear it, because many times, like, if we're trying to force it, it's because we don't want to hear it, we don't want to receive it. So I hope that is helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful week. We will see you next time. Bye.